Hi, my name is Tomasz and you're watching Casual DIY channel. In today's video I'm going to show you around my tiny workshop, which is a single bay garage. I will also show you how it was before I started its transformation. Check out the video. So about 12 months ago, I've started to change my workshop into something a bit more user-friendly, because frankly, before what it is now, it was just dangerous to work in. It was an absolute total chaos and mess. So have a look what it was about 12 months ago. Yep, that was my workshop, absolute chaos. Now, at present, it's far from being perfect, and what I've found, it's an ongoing process, constantly upgrading and updating my workshop, my benches, and other different solutions that, to be honest, come to me over time. So, have a look how the workshop is looking right now. So as you walk into my garage, as you can see behind me are the doors, and to the left again I still got a fairly decent amount of mess in these shelves, but far better than it was before. I've got everything and nothing in here that, to be fair, I've not found a proper space for it in my garage as yet. There are still a few things I'm planning to do, hence it's basically a placeholder for all those things. Most of the stuff over here, it's actually what I use on daily basis, so it's in easy reach, but there's too much of it and it creates a mess, as you can see. On the other side, this is something that is saving me a massive headache. This is my mobile wood rack. From this side I can store my sheet good materials, but from the other side, as you know from the build video, I can store all my lumber, and it does have a huge capacity, and to be absolutely honest, as you can see, I've filled it up right to the top. I do have a lot of wood and I love having even more, hence I did had a bit of an issue with wood overflowing my garage, but now this is the main area where I keep all my wood. If something doesn't fit, well, unfortunately it will have to leave my workshop. I also keep my router bench over here as well. It's just a cheap one from Aldi, and to be fair, I just need to make a proper one. I'm just thinking about a solution where to store it and how its design will actually work, as this one is definitely not doing the job I needed to do, hence it's just lying about over there. Just below I've got my table saw, the Rage 5S from Evolution. In my workshop at the minute, it's a necessity that I do have a table saw that actually can be stored away, and this does the job perfectly. And when actually folded up for a full capacity, it's a massive saw that gives me a huge spec, and I can really cut down the full size sheets with no problem whatsoever. Back to the other side, I've got a few of the bigger clamps, the longer clamps I've got over here. At the minute I've not really found a proper space for them, so they're just cluttered in this corner. Now the wall of shame behind me, again, these are all the tools I actually use on daily basis, but as you can see, it's a fairly big mess which needs organizing, and now I actually do something different, because I'm going to need this wall for one of my future projects that hopefully you will enjoy watching, but I'm not telling you what it's going to be. It's well, maybe a surprise. You'll see what it is exactly in the near future, hopefully. Bit further down, picked these up from Aldi a while ago. And as you can see, they're overflowing, and that's another part of my wall of shame with, well, there's nothing in order here. But again, they're easy accessible items for me that I use constantly. I just need to find a better solution for them. Eventually, this side of the workshop, I will have all my jigs being hung on this wall. As you can see, I've got my tapering jig and parts of my router sled just over here. And one of the biggest things that I really like in my workshop is the mobile dust extraction cart I've got here, and it's got all the essential tools. I've got my sanders, I've got my battery chargers, I've got my drills, basically everything is here. Even the sand discs over there, absolutely fantastic bit of kit. It doesn't actually take that much space. I can put it anywhere in my workshop where it's needed. On top of that, I also got this power supply that just hangs through the ceiling, and again it's on a chain, so I can put it anywhere up above my workshop. So if I've got any tools that are in different parts of the workshop, they're quite easily accessible with this power source, and I've got no cables lying on the floor, which I find to be a fairly huge hazard, especially when running a table saw or anything like that. Having cables on the floor, well, just makes it dangerous. You can trip over them and lose a hand or fingers or whatever. So I think a hanging power supply is far better than having cables on the floor. One thing that I have to mention is I do have a lot of stuff, and I love my tools, as you probably noticed already. And one of the things I've done, I actually done shelves on the joists, as you can see behind me on my workshop. So I've got 4 shelves built on top, and as you can imagine, the capacity of those is absolutely huge, and I can store everything that is not in constant use over there, and that saves me so much space in the workshop, and it gives me so much more space to actually be able to use for my projects, which is again a fantastic thing. If you can utilize something that you've got in your workshop, that extra space above your head, go for it, because it is definitely a lifesaver. I'm just gonna show you what I've got up there. So as you've seen, everything is neatly stored in the plastic containers, and they are not random things. So each type of tools or projects or things like that, they're actually in a specific plastic container, which allows me to pull just a specific container when it's needed for a project. So it's an awkward thing, because obviously I need to keep a ladder. There's one behind me there, as you can see. I need to have it in my workshop to actually be able to access that. But it's a bit of a give and take. In a small workshop, unfortunately, I can't have everything spaced out, as it's just basically impossible to work around it, and you have to cut corners. For me, that's the way I've done it, and to be fair, it takes few minutes to actually grab what I need, and it's not been a massive issue for me. Above on this wall, as you can see, I do have some shelving system for the longer pieces of wood, as you can see, so there is space for something longer. And on the other side, similar feature. And behind me, as you can see, the pride and joy of my workshop, which is my workbench and the 2 mobile carts I've got on each side. That allows me to have all my big bulky tools ready and accessible in just a few minutes. I think this is a perfect build for my case, for my small garage. And on top of it, it's actually blocking the access doors to it, so getting in this garage would be very difficult. So it's a safety feature as well, to avoid any of the sticky hands people coming in and approaching my garage. Obviously, I do have a camera outside as well, just to make sure. And I do recommend having some safety features in your garages as well, guys. You know, it's some of these tools in total, maybe they're still budget tools, but in total, you know, it comes to a fairly decent amount of money, and I bet you wouldn't like your pride and joy tools to be stolen either. So invest that a little bit in any safety equipment you can, just to prevent the thieves to getting into your garages too easily. So that's one of my safety features. So on one side, as you can see, I've got my bandsaw. easy accessible on a mobile base. Just below, as you can see, I've got my sander there, easy accessible. I'm just going to pull it out and put it on top of the bench, and the same with my scroll saw. Absolutely dead simple to get to, and I just put it on my bench and it's ready to use. Same thing with the mobile carts, with the bulkier tools like the thickness planer, and on the other side I've got my jointer as well. They just roll out to the middle of my workshop and they're ready to use in a matter of minutes, no more than that. So I think that's a fantastic solution. As you know, they actually lift to a reasonable level, so I don't have to use them being on my knees. And on the other side, I've got my pillar drill. Again, it's on a mobile cart. So to be absolutely honest with you, I don't really pull it out that much because I don't have bigger items that wouldn't actually fit in here. So that's really usually used where it sits, and it's easy accessible, no issues. Down the bottom, as you can see, I've got my 50-litre air compressor, absolutely perfect place for it. And the box itself actually reduces the noise. And the best part of all of these improvements, it is my workbench. I've got finally a large space to work on. I've got some dog holes as well, as you can see. I've got few items that I've made, few clamps, DIY, bench dogs and all that. It really helps in speed and helps in flexibility of what you can do in your tiny workshop. And obviously, I've got the flip top miter saw station. Few seconds and it's ready to use, and I've got a large surface of the workbench to support any items, any wood pieces that I would be actually cutting. And as you can see, I've actually got my jig for cutting smaller pieces attached to it as well, and this helped me a lot as well. It's very, very useful, very accurate as well. And for cutting small pieces, it's absolutely fantastic. So as 2019 went, I have to say, I thought the changes would go a lot quicker, but they took absolutely forever, basically the whole year. And I was hoping to sort everything out in a month's time, but obviously life reflected on that. But I'm so happy where I am at the minute. There are still a few tasks, few jobs and few projects to do to utilize the most out of this workshop. It's a single bay garage, and I've just actually measured it, and it's 13 square meters. So it's definitely not the smallest of spaces, but it's definitely not a massive, huge workshop either. And I have to say, I am quite proud of what I managed to achieve, what I managed to get in this workshop. The only thing I'm probably missing is a lathe. That would probably fit on this wall. Not sure if I'm gonna get the lathe in 2020. We'll see. That would be another new experience to me. I never used a lathe, so that would be quite cool. I'm looking at a small lathe, to be absolutely honest with you. Probably the one from Axminster, the hobby range, because I wouldn't have the space for a full-on large lathe. But you never know what the future may bring. And I hope this actually gave you a bit of inspiration of what you can achieve in your workshop. It's a big job to keep on top of it and make sure it's clean and tidy, but by keeping it clean and tidy, it becomes a safe place to work with. So as I mentioned, there are still a few projects, especially this wall of mess and shame, to sort out, and hopefully that will come in the first few months in 2020, and you will be able to see that as well. So let's go and have one more look at my workshop, how it is right now. hope you enjoy my content in 2019, and I do hope you will enjoy my future content as well. The upgrades I'm going to do to my workshop and any projects I will be making in 2020. If you are interested in any of the projects that I made for my workshop to actually improve it, I made a playlist. You can see it right over here now. You can click on it and you will be taken to all the videos about how I upgraded my workshop and what I actually done with it to be what it is now. But today, guys, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Drop me that like button if you did, and I hope to see you on my next woodworking adventure. Till then, take care.